You know how they say communication is key in, well, every relationship?
Hmm.
Well, let's be honest, maybe that's never more true than in the one between parents and teachers. It's such a unique connection, right?
Mm.
All focused on supporting a student.
Absolutely. It's a partnership, with shared goals, definitely,
Yeah.
but often very different perspectives and challenges on each side.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We've looked at, well, a whole stack of sources, research articles, journal bits, notes on strategies, really trying to unpack this complex world.
Yeah, the whole landscape of parent-teacher communication.
How do they connect? What gets in the way? And, the big question, how can they build stronger relationships that actually help kids?
So our mission here really is to pull out the most important insights from all this material, kind of cut through the noise and give you a clearer picture of what effective homeschool communication looks like.
And why it matters so much for student success.
Exactly, why it makes such a difference.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning, the foundation. Why is this so critical? The sources, they just hammer this home. It's not just nice to have.
Not at all. Think of it like this. You need meaningful parent involvement for a child's education to really work. That's essential.
Right.
And homeschool communication.
Yeah.
That's the bedrock. It's how you build that involvement. Without it, you don't really have proper involvement.
Got it. And that strong parent involvement, that's what leads to student success. So when parents and educators are talking effectively, they build a solid partnership.
Which then leads to, more positive relationships overall. It makes tackling problems easier when they do come up.
And genuinely helps students make better progress.
Definitely. And what's really interesting is how the sources break down communication itself. It's not just one thing.
True. You've got your sort of one-way street communication, information flowing mostly in one direction.
Like a school newsletter, maybe announcements, a robocall, that kind of thing.
Yeah, or a mass email.
And then there's the two-way street. That's the reciprocal dialogue.
Where people are actually sharing back and forth, giving feedback, interacting.
And the sources, they keep saying over and over, if you want a real partnership, a collaboration, you absolutely need that two-way sharing of ideas and perceptions.
It's not just about the words either, is it? I was really struck by how much emphasis there was on nonverbal communication, like the whole feel of the school.
Oh, yeah, the atmosphere. Is there a smiling face when you walk into the office?
Is there student artwork up? Are the signs welcoming?
Especially welcoming in different languages spoken in the community. These, like, subtle signals, they tell parents if they're genuinely welcome or, just sort of tolerated.
Makes total sense. How the place feels definitely changes whether you feel comfortable engaging. There was even a mention of a welcoming atmosphere walkthrough toolkit.
Yeah, a guide for schools to actually assess this, intentionally improve it.
Because, like you said, it's not just information exchange.
No, it's deeply rooted in building relationships, building trust.
That feels like the absolute core of it. Build the relationship first.
Precisely. One source said it really well. You need to develop that trusting relationship before there is anything substantial to talk about.
Get that foundation in place before the tough stuff comes up.
Exactly.
So how do teachers actually build that trust, according to the research? It sounds like it's not about waiting for problems.
No, it's definitely proactive. Teachers who felt they were successful talked about the school being genuinely open and transparent,
Okay.
creating chances for informal contact, and just reaching out themselves,
Mhm.
often starting with positive news.
The good news calls we'll get to later.
Yeah, and the sources stress, it's not just relaying facts, it's about understanding the emotion behind the information. There's a human element there that's just crucial.
Understanding the emotion. Yeah, that adds a whole other layer. Okay, so with that foundation, let's look at the actual tools the channels parents and teachers use.
Right, the methods. And the sources cover a pretty broad range of channels, ways to communicate an idea.
And you mentioned the one-way channels. These are often
Yeah.
written, yeah.
Typically, yeah, though, like we said, announcements, automated calls too. And it's super common. One study, I think from 2016, showed like 89% of K-12 parents got written communication, like newsletters or memos.
And because it's written, it's sort of on the record, so you really have to be thoughtful. Format, content, tone, wording.
Yeah.
It's permanent.
Absolutely. Now, a big digital channel is the school website. Parents use it for, well, everything. Enrolling, finding out about activities, getting class info.
And they can be great, right? If they're accessible, flexible, easy to get around, look good.
But the sources also point out what's often missing. Sometimes it's basic stuff parents need.
Mm.
Field trip info, class notes, spelling lists, forms.
Yeah, the practical things.
And the cautions around websites are pretty significant. They take time to maintain, need tech support from the district.
And accessibility is huge, not just slapping on a translation tool, which can have its own issues, like monolingual logic.
Right, thinking only from one language perspective.
But having dedicated pages in community languages, linked properly from the homepage, and web accessibility for disabilities, alt text for images, clear links, good color contrast, it's not optional, it's essential for equity.
Totally agree. Then there's the newsletter. Classic channel. Used to be paper, now mostly digital.
Good way to efficiently share school or class news, policies, calendars, homework tips, resources.
They can help create a feeling of connection. And they're pretty easy and inexpensive ways to share highlights.
The goal, the sources say, is to inform, educate, and encourage parents. There was even that PROSE acronym checklist.
Yeah, for making them effective. Print, readability, organization, structure, ease of reading.
Good tips there. Keep it brief, maybe one page. Use varied content, simple language, catchy titles. Look professional.
And adding things like student work samples or links to resources, writing in a warm tone, consistent format, those help too. Encouraging feedback is also good.
Okay, then email. It's everywhere now. Quick, efficient, you can personalize it, and it's asynchronous.
Teachers use it for tons of things, mostly grades and academics, but also behavior, social stuff, health issues, scheduling.
And that asynchronous part is a bonus sometimes, right? Gives you time to think before hitting reply.
And translation tools can be built in. Mass emails are useful for quick updates.
But the cautions are serious here too. Security, privacy, using the district email is key.
And the big one, miscommunication potential. No nonverbals. Tone is so hard to read.
And often the content is about concerns, so it's already emotionally loaded. Teachers need to really regulate their tone, state feelings clearly if needed.
Plus, emails are permanent records. They can be saved, forwarded, even altered. Teachers might keep specific files for ongoing issues.
And teacher experiences aren't always great. Frustrating when emails go unanswered.
Or getting unexpectedly angry responses. There was that example of a teacher emailing about an incomplete project and the parent just criticized the teacher's methods.
Wow. Yeah, and parents copying the principal can sometimes feel undermining.
Right. So the advice for teachers using email, what boils down?
Seems like have a clear policy, maybe on response time. Use your professional district email, always.
And crucially,
Build that relationship first. Don't make an email about a concern the very first contact you have with a parent.
yes, and think, is email even the right channel for this? Maybe a phone call or meeting is better.
Keep emails friendly as possible, short, factual, ditch the jargon, proofread carefully. Use CC and BCC thoughtfully.
It's a lot to consider for something we use so often. Okay, shifting to report cards, the classic formal record.
Yes, and the sources really stress. Nothing on that report card should be a shock.
Concerns need discussion before it goes home. Give parents and the student time to work on things.
They're often called a conversation starter, right? Leading into conferences.
Exactly. And teachers put a lot of time into them, writing for parents mainly, covering academics, attitude, effort, work habits, behavior, social stuff.
Readability comes up again here, big time. Use clear, simple language. Avoid jargon.
The studies mentioned are pretty stark. Educational info for parents is often written way too high, like 8th grade to college level.
Wow, when public health info aims for more like 6th grade, big mismatch.
Huge mismatch. So making report cards effective means maybe starting with a positive, being clear about skills, explaining grades, suggesting home support ideas, personalizing them. The goal is improving learning.
But the challenges are real. That finding about report cards on a Friday and increased child abuse reports, that's chilling.
Incredibly sobering. It just underlines the emotional weight these carry and why talking about concerns early isn't just good practice, it can be a safety issue.
Absolutely.
Plus, cultural barriers in how comments are read, the need for good translation.
And framing comments carefully for kids with diagnoses, like the ADHD example. Liam is learning to respond to verbal cues is so much better than just listing behaviors.
Right. It focuses on the learning and support. Report cards really are, as one source put it, an intersection of parents' hopes and concerns.
Okay, let's move to two-way channels. Phone calls.
Key channel. But synchronous, you both have to be available at the same time. That's tough with schedules.
And just keeping phone numbers up to date can be a hurdle. Teachers use school lines, sometimes personal phones, maybe blocking the number.
Unlike email, you can't take back what you say on a call. So preparation is key.
Have a plan, know your main points. plan for voicemail, or if a student answers.
And keeping a log is smart date, time, who you talked to, what was said, suggestions, parent response.
Now, traditionally, calls home often meant bad news, right? Problems, missing work.
Yeah, that negative association. But a really powerful idea from the sources is the need to actively flip that dynamic.
Make more good news calls. I love this.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like that Tennessee example, 7th grade teachers making one positive call a week.
Just because a student did something great, helping someone, finishing work, asking a good question.
Even sharing a funny anecdote,
Mhm.
calling early in the year, pacing these positive calls out.
You could even get students involved in choosing who gets a call or call when they're right there.
Taking time for that positive call sends such a strong message of connection. And they're useful for checking on absent kids, too.
Home visits were mentioned as another interactive channel, maybe less common.
Yeah, perhaps less widespread. The sources mention a framework for them. Before, prep work, checking policies, contacting parents, etiquette research. During, greeting everyone, clarifying names, using student work as props, asking about the child and home customs, and presumably an after phase for follow-up.
Okay. Parent-teacher conferences. Probably the most common two-way interaction for most parents. High attendance reported.
Definitely the most common. Usually annual, school-initiated, often just 15 minutes in the classroom.
Can be just parent-teacher or include the student. Student-led conferences seem promising, especially for high school where attendance can drop off.
Right. The focus is usually academics, behavior, attitude, work habits, social development, maybe more literacy focus for younger kids.
A big challenge highlighted. Teachers often get little or no training on how to run these.
Yeah, which is wild, isn't it? They can be stressful, especially for new teachers, and they often end up just focusing on problems.
Sources mention training tools are being developed, though video cases, simulations, role-playing. Principals should provide this training.
Parents have expectations too. They want advance notice, a welcoming feel, a clear agenda, organization. They want a fair and true statement about their child.
Taking notes, planning follow-up, those are valued.
And that little tip, use adult-sized chairs. It sounds small, but it's about making parents feel like equal partners, not visitors.
Scheduling is always tough, often during work hours, limited evening slots. Work conflicts, childcare, other commitments are huge barriers.
And handling difficult conversations in that short time, that takes skill.
Clear language, active listening, using iMessages, good questions, paraphrasing, summarizing, reading nonverbals.
And the advice is, be tactful, empathetic, honest, watch your tone, start with positives if you can, really listen.
For really tough ones, maybe prepare extra as for admin support, book more time, have an exit strategy.
Asking parents questions is key to making it two-way. And knowing what they might already know from, say, the report card helps use the time well.
Virtual meetings obviously exploded during the pandemic, though video was used before sometimes.
Yeah, for team collaboration or sharing quick videos.
Pre-pandemic, surveys showed parents found virtual convenience saved time, maybe helped recall, but teachers often found them technically tricky and preferred face-to-face.
More recent experience, like with virtual IEPs, shows both sides. Convenient for working parents, definitely.
But barriers, too. Tech glitches, lack of internet access for some families, that feeling of lost personal connection, finding a private space on both ends, seeing everyone, talking over each other.
The upside, sometimes more efficient, maybe less likely to go off on tangents.
But again, training is often missing for doing these well. It's a different way of communicating.
Totally. Keeping people engaged when they're in their own homes with distractions requires specific strategies, and that study finding video conferencing actually inhibited creative idea generation.
Wow, that's significant.
It suggests you need extra effort in virtual meetings to really draw out ideas and make sure everyone feels heard and valued.
Okay, so we have all these ways to connect, one way, two way. But things still go wrong. What are the big roadblocks? The barriers?
Yeah, communication breakdown is often the culprit in misunderstandings, and several obstacles pop up repeatedly in the sources. Language and culture are huge.
Teachers reported feeling uncomfortable, maybe not being aware enough of diverse family backgrounds. The need for educators to really understand the lived experience of families of color was emphasized.
And cultural differences affect how comments are received, like on report cards. Language barriers need translation, sure, but also tackling that monolingual logic, assuming everyone sees things through one cultural linguistic lens, and navigating things like language brokering, where kids interpret.
Technology, while helpful, is also called a wildcard barrier. A big frustration for parents is fragmentation.
Oh yeah, Different teachers in the same school using different apps or platforms. It's a nightmare for parents to track.
The call is for school-wide consistency, common platforms, common practices.
Teacher barriers to tech include lack of time, needing training and support, not enough resources, maybe lack of confidence, varying access based on location.
A team approach, with admin and tech support helping teachers, seems key. Budgets are a thing, but free apps do exist.
Parents face tech barriers too. Sometimes it's just too complex. Ease of use is critical.
Is digital even right for sensitive topics? Some parents strongly prefer personal contact for that.
The risk of misinterpretation without seeing faces or hearing tone. And the big one, the digital divide. Access to devices and reliable internet varies hugely. Creative solutions like hotspot buses were mentioned.
Time constraints. This came up constantly. For parents' busy lives, work schedules, over half reported work conflicts stopping them from school involvement.
And many school events are during the workday. This isn't new. Either lack of time was cited as a barrier back in the 50s.
And teachers spend hours each week communicating with parents, too. It takes time on both sides.
Practical barriers for parents' money, transportation, these are real obstacles to attending meetings or events.
Schools try things like food or prizes at events, special parking, bus stops, meeting in community locations to help.
Lack of training is another critical barrier. We mentioned it for conferences, but it applies broadly. Basic communication skills, virtual meetings, parent engagement strategies. Teachers often don't get specific training.
And anti-racism training needs to be substantial, not just a one-off workshop. Professional learning communities were suggested. Teacher bias is linked to lack of awareness and confidence. State requirements for this kind of training for teacher licensure are often minimal.
School culture itself can be a barrier. Sometimes schools see parents in a very traditional, passive role.
While parents want to be more active partners.
Schools might not take the initiative or truly welcome participation. There's a power dynamic.
And sadly, negative stereotypes can exist about poor families, single mothers, minority families, leading to poor communication, like using jargon or talking down.
Schools often judge involvement by narrow metrics fundraising, showing up at open house, which just isn't possible for all families.
Parents dealing with other demands or who had bad experiences at school themselves or lack confidence might avoid those traditional methods. They can feel like unwelcome intruders.
Or that the school doesn't know what to do with them if they do offer to help. That comment about parents signing up to volunteer and never getting called, that's tough.
And this engagement gap tends to widen as kids get older, especially that big drop-off in middle school.
So, the big question, how do we build bridges? How do we make partnership work despite these barriers? The sources offer clear strategies.
It really starts with a mindset shift, doesn't it? Moving beyond just counting heads at events, parent involvement, towards real parent engagement or partnership.
Exactly. That means genuine two-way communication, setting goals together, respecting that involvement looks different for everyone, meeting parents where they are.
And it has to be systemic. Leadership from the school and district is crucial for setting expectations, creating that welcoming climate. A systematic communication plan, consistent platforms, those are key recommendations.
Admin support for teachers using tech helps too.
For individual teachers, the advice is tune in, build relationships early. That refrain again, build trust before problems arise. Personal, proactive contact means so much more than generic messages.
And really understand your parent community. Survey them early on. What methods do they prefer? Phone, email, text, apps? What's their tech access like? What languages do they speak? Plan based on that diversity.
Make communications personal, positive, and link them to learning. Start right away at the beginning of the year.
Find the good in the child and share it. Don't only call with bad news.
Streamline things to be efficient, sure, but stay flexible so it works for individual parents. Use different types of media, but use them intentionally.
And develop those communication skills.
Yeah.
Explicit training is needed. Clear vocabulary, active listening, iMessages, questioning, paraphrasing, summarizing, nonverbals, empathy, tone.
Addressing readability is huge, too. Don't assume anything. Aim for that simpler reading level, like 6th grade. Use neutral language, simple graphics, check grammar. Keep it simple, especially if it needs translating.
Creating that welcoming environment, it's everything from the office greeting to signs in different languages, artwork, clear policies, positive interactions, even thinking about the physical space for conferences. Privacy, comfort.
Addressing access barriers means flexible scheduling day, evening. Ask parents what works. Tackle childcare, transport, work conflicts.
Like that main example with potluck nights, combining meetings with food and childcare. Makes it easier for working parents, fosters informal chat too.
And offer different ways to help in school, at home, from work, recognize diverse contributions.
Training needs to be for everyone, parents, volunteers, and staff. Figure out what training is needed.
For staff, two-way communication, customer service mindsets, inclusive environments, using volunteers well, collaboration, cultural sensitivity, running good conferences, engaging parents who haven't been involved, using tech.
For parents, volunteers, maybe skills they need, understanding homework policies, how to help kids, navigating the school system, subject help, maybe English skills.
And make training accessible. Childcare, translators, transport convenient times, consider family disabilities. Professional learning communities for ongoing anti-racism work were highlighted.
Involving parents in actual decision-making is key too. Seek their input on things like curriculum, school policies, committees, volunteer recruitment. Develop them as partners in decisions, and use parents as resources. Find out their skills and talents, bring them into the classroom or volunteer roles. Train them on procedures, have a system to call on them, and show appreciation.
But even with all the tech, that power of personal contact keeps coming up.
Yes, personalized, face-to-face, informal chats are often the best way to build relationships, especially for sensitive stuff. You can't underestimate face-to-face.
Learning from successful models helps too, like that Maine district's systematic efforts, grants, tech hubs, community events involving parents and planning.
And they saw results. Increased teacher outreach, more volunteers, higher event attendance. It shows these strategies can work when there's dedicated effort.
So why does all this matter in the end? How does it connect back to the students?
The link is really clear in the research. Frequent, effective communication boosts parent involvement.
Which leads to parents having better views of educators and the school.
And that effective involvement is strongly tied to higher student achievement. Higher reading and math scores are linked to teacher outreach to parents.
The most powerful involvement seems to be parents working directly with their kids at home. Quiet study space, materials, reading together.
When parents know what's being studied, talk with teachers, and reinforce schoolwork, kids make greater gains. Simple as that.
It also connects really strongly to fostering a growth mindset in kids.
Ah, yes. Fixed versus growth. Fixed mindset.
Yeah.
Abilities are fixed, avoid challenges, learning is limited, self-worth tied to achievement.
Versus growth mindset. Abilities can be developed, challenges are opportunities, belief in effort, learning, perseverance. The brain's like a muscle.
And kids with a growth mindset tend to do better. They're more resilient.
And parents play a huge role here. Celebrate the effort, praise the process, the hard work, the practice, not just being smart.
Normalize mistakes. They're part of learning, stepping stones. Embrace challenges.
Set realistic expectations. Model a growth mindset yourself. Sources even had ideas for school holidays, fostering independence, reflecting, goal setting.
And finally, this partnership is vital for supporting kids with school-related stress and anxiety. School is a big source of anxiety for some kids.
Some anxiety is normal, sure, but it's a problem when it gets in the way of daily life attendance, friendships, learning.
Signs to watch for. More absences, pulling back from friends or schoolwork, lack of interest, lots of worry about school, acting out, physical stuff like headaches or stomach aches.
But also remember, avoidance isn't always anxiety. Could be bullying, discrimination. Those need immediate school action.
Parents are usually the main support. Strategies include keep routines predictable, practice calming techniques together, help challenge anxious thoughts like, what would you tell a friend?
Support small, brave steps towards attending. Communicate your belief that they can return. Have clear expectations about attendance while validating when they're truly sick.
Listening and validating feelings builds trust, opens the door for coping strategies.
School mental health staff can help too, with support or referrals. And, it's tough for parents too. They might need their own support.
Right. And one specific note was about the known challenges for children who are deaf or hard of hearing and their families, suggesting they might need tailored support.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The landscape of parent-teacher communication, the need for trust, the channels, the barriers, the strategies for real partnership.
And how it all connects back to student learning, that growth mindset, and their emotional well-being, including handling anxiety.
When schools and families really click, when they understand the complexities and work together, the impact on kids is just huge, academically and developmentally.
It's way more than just passing information back and forth. It's mutual respect, shared goals, a unified support system.
So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. If we talk about fostering a growth mindset and kids seeing challenges as opportunities, mistakes as learning moments,
Hmm.
how can the parent-teacher partnership model that for the school system itself? Can we view those communication struggles not as failures, but as chances to learn, adapt, and build even stronger connections?